So I like broccoli, and I also like ice cream. But one thing that I do not want in my ice cream is broccoli. Hey everybody, it's Nerdicane. I'm doing another review. This is Robotech Remix number 1. This is from Titan Comics. They did the if you're a longtime follower of my channel, way back in the early days, I was covering they were doing a Robotech comic series. It was sort of a reboot. They were following the original storyline of Robotech, but they were making changes here and there, which at first I started to think were pretty cool, and then they just kept doing it too much. And there was controversy as well with. I started reading it. Brian Wood was the writer, and I really liked the job he was doing. Well, there are people in the comic book industry who don't like Brian Wood, who think there were accusations of sexual harassment, and they were loud enough that CBR picked it up. And since 2017 or 16, whenever it started, these accusations have been causing Brian Wood jobs. He just got removed off of a series from Dark Horse because of these accusations. Now, I want to repeat, accusations. This hasn't gone to trial. He hasn't been arrested. The accusations are enough to get him removed from books. After that, Brendan Fletcher took over, and I really didn't like the directions that it started to go after that. You could tell that there was a change, and they added something. The final straw, I just sort of lost interest, and I stopped doing reviews of it because they put broccoli in my ice cream. And by what I mean by that is they put time travel and alternate dimensions into Robotech. Robotech, at its core, is sort of a space opera. It's a war story. It's a space war story between humans and the Zentradi, and the humans wind up with the robotechnology, and it's very complicated. It was very ahead of its time when I first watched it in the 80s. It was serialized. Back then, cartoons were episodic. You had your 30-minute arc, and the story started at point A and then went right back to point A. It did a circle. This being anime, and it's a really convoluted and weird story of how Robotech came to America. It's actually the amalgamation of like 3 different series. Go look it up. It's really complicated, but it was serialized. You would start at point A in an episode, and you would go to point B. Next episode would start at point B, C to D, and that at the time was very, very different. And that's sort of what captivated me about it. I used to get up really early in the morning. This was the local UHF channel in Florida. This was the first cartoon that they showed in the morning, and they started like at 5 a.m. I used to get up that early. Robotech was so unique and so different that it caused me to get up, to set an alarm and get up that early so I could watch it. It was really groundbreaking for its time. It was, I watched G.I. Joe and nobody ever died, where in Robotech, like the 3rd or 4th episode, one of the main characters, dies. A mentor character dies, and you're like, that was like just shocking for me. I was like, whoa. But anyway, that's my love of Robotech. Okay, review starts at 4 minutes and 7 seconds. This doesn't really know what it wants to tell. It doesn't know the story that it wants to tell. It has the elements to tell a good story. It has the elements of the space war to tell. Restarting of the war. They finished that arc, that first Robotech arc. Now these are all original, and you can tell that they've gone completely a different way. They still want to keep that, the pop. There's always been in Robotech movies. There's always been sort of a pop star element, a culture element that has been a weakness of the Zentradi, and they want to keep that with this character who's sort of like a pop star, and she's interviewing. This is the character who is out of place. This is Dana Sterling. She's the daughter of 2 characters from the original one. She was featured in the second Robotech Macross series. Well, what they did in the first comic book of this, they moved Rick Hunter out of the way. They made him blind. They killed Captain Global. They made Rick Hunter blind, and they just swept him aside. He was the main character of the first Robotech, and they brought her in and made her sort of the main character. And that's when I checked out. That's when you start bringing time travel into something where it doesn't belong, then you mess everything up. Imagine Star Wars with time travel. You lose it. It all crumbles apart when there's not one continuous timeline. Comic books, there you go. There's the X-Men. Comic books do it all the time. They overuse it now. Comic books can get away because they've done it for so long, but Robotech never had it. Robotech never had it before, and they've introduced it. And I just find this funny that this pop star and it's like Friday Night Live. Yeah, we're gonna play the hits. I'm gonna sing this hot song, but first I'm gonna interview this sad sack military pilot and just bring everybody down. She's sort of explaining her timeline and how it's not really this timeline. She was sent in the past from her timeline, and she wound up here, and blah blah blah. Once again, just elements. Look at that. That is a lot of text for 2 pages. A lot of it just doesn't work in Robotech, and I don't like it. And then you have the elements to tell a really good space war saga, but it seems like they don't know the story that they want to tell. You start in this sort of sitcom-y, anime, sort of slice of life, high school anime setting. She's a pilot. She's a Veritech pilot. She's been in a war. She's been in multiple wars already. But here she is, just like being surrogate mother to this kid, and it just doesn't work. So in the background, you got this building very slowly and in the wrong direction. And then here you have the military aspect, where it's just out of nowhere, from a different dimension, comes a Zentradi ship. They don't recognize the ship. It's not on any of their databases. They've never seen one like this. They've also never seen this Veritech fighter. So they quickly conclude that this is from a different timeline. This is from another dimension. Cool. You have, well, I don't like the timeline part, but you have this new element, this new threat, this new military threat. They're familiar with these. They've basically taken Max Sterling and Lisa Hayes, and they're captains now. They've swept them out of the war. They've made them captains of ships, and you have the beginning of this military mystery, this new threat coming out, and it goes right back. This is like the height of the high school drama, bickering back and forth, and this guy's a gamer, and there's pirated music, and blah 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 blah. It's just, and once again, in all of this with these high school kids is this pilot, this war-hardened veteran pilot, and it has they don't mix together. This is the broccoli. Once again, this is the broccoli and the ice cream. I don't want to skip it, but it turns out that somebody was sent through the portal to kill her, because she's messing up the timeline. I'm not gonna spoil any of this. I don't know if I could recommend this. This is probably printed in such small numbers you might have trouble finding it. My comic book shop had 1 copy, and I bought it because my love of Robotech, of what Robotech was, got me to buy it. Now that I've read it and I held it in my hands, I'm like, I don't know if the creative team have the savvy to pull it off properly. I don't know if I even like it to begin with. Well, I know I don't. I know it doesn't belong there. The time travel and the different dimension stuff and things like that. Once you introduce that, you make everything that happens in every timeline irrelevant. It doesn't matter because there's a timeline where the Zentradi won. There's a timeline where Earth won. There's this timeline where they had a truce. There's a timeline where they just had a truce, but they went their separate ways. There's a truce where they integrated, and it's just it makes everything. It makes it so nothing really matters in the timeline that you just got invested in. I am probably gonna read one more issue on this. to see if I like it, to see if I want to go forward in it. I gotta, I gotta say that I checked out on the first Robotech series, also written by Brian Fletcher. If it's more of that same stuff, I'm probably gonna check out again. The art, I did like the art. There's a lack of backgrounds once again. This is what you should expect from like a Titan Comics, from an IDW. There's a lot of lack of backgrounds in it. They've kind of gone a little cheap on it. But as far as the look, it has a very good sort of modern anime look. It looks a lot like the original. I think this is a trace out. Yeah, this is a trace outline of the original, and then this is the sort of new look, and you can tell that they are related. But the whole book is like that, and I kind of like it, and we'll see where it goes. The ship designs, I think they've pulled the ship designs from designs that already exist, so they don't have to. You're gonna get good ship design. Robotech has always had really, really cool ship designs, especially when it got to Macross Plus. It was really cool. But that's one you should go check out. That's an anime you should check out if you've never watched Macross Plus. That one's really good. The music was really, really good in there. Yoko Kanno, who was also did the music for Cowboy Bebop. So it's earlier work than Cowboy Bebop, and you can tell it's earlier work, but it's still really good. But that's all I got for this one. If you're a fan of Robotech, check it out. Give it another month. Let me read the next issue and see if I can give this a thumbs up. Right now, I have to give it okay. So that's my review on it. Thanks for watching. Thanks for your time. You guys go out and find something you like. It's New Comic Book Day. That one's coming. That one's coming. And it's not comic book related, but I got something to say about LeBron James and James Harden. But thanks for listening. You guys go out. Have a good day. Bye.